So my 87 Grand National, it just sits a lot. Um, I really always feel like I need to use it more. I always tell myself, use it more. I just never seem to find the time for whatever reason, dealing with all the other crappy cars I have and, just life in general. So here it sits, and it's been sitting here quite a while. I don't remember, probably over a month now, because the fuel pump apparently died on it, and maybe it's because it sits so much. And I run E85. I don't know if there's anything to do with it. The pump has been in here for 6 years right now, so it's a low mileage car. It's got, I think, 24,000 now. Let me see. Yeah, I just turned 24 and 20. And also, when it sits like this, the battery's always running down. I got an AC Delco battery for it. I don't remember how long ago. Not that long ago. Because I wanted to make it like, original, whatever. But I don't know. These seem to be the worst batteries out there. It was very expensive. And even when it was new, it was just like, not great. Let it sit for a couple of weeks and it's cranking really slow. I did charge it up when I had the fuel pump problem because I thought maybe that was preventing it from working, but made no difference. I'm gonna throw the tender on it again. So today I got a couple of hours free. Gonna drop the tank. Really not looking forward to this. Done it 2 times before. The original one, I got the car, the original pump was in there, as far as I know. And it worked great, but every person on the Turbo Buick forum will tell you the original pumps are no good. Can't use them. So I said, okay, get a new Walbro pump. Walbro, whatever they call it. 340, 110, I have no idea. And it was fine, worked good when I was running 93. Then I switched over to E85, put bigger injectors in. With the Walbro pump, the factory fuel lines, everything was fine. What was happening was, when you went full throttle, it was starving for gas. It was leaning out pretty bad. So, because you need more 85 when you're running 85, it's like, I think it uses 30% more 85 than when you're running pump gas. So with the bigger injectors, it couldn't keep up. So I think they're 80 pound that are in there now. So then I went to the Deutschwerks 300 pump, put that in 2016, and then the fuel pressure was too high. I couldn't get it lower than, let's say, 50, 52, I think, because that pump really flows a lot. And the factory return line, which goes here, see I've got a braided line now. I think that's a 4 AN. I ran to the tank. The original, it's still, I think it's still in here. Underneath. I don't even remember what I did, if I took the original out. I thought I left it in. Anyway, the original, I think it's under here actually somewhere. I don't know. Original line is like 1/4 of an inch tube, and when it's returning that much fuel in such a small line, it just backs up. It's a major restriction. There's some tight bends down here too at the return line, and I couldn't get the pressure low enough. It was way too high. So that's when I put the braided 4AN line. It's a nice free-flowing line back to the original sending unit at the tank. I think I got some kind of AN adapter. and then the fuel pressure is great. You can set it really whatever you want, and it was, really working well for however many years, 6 years, I guess. And boom, all of a sudden, went to start it recently, and no fuel pressure. I have a gauge inside, and I checked all the wiring in the back, the front, relays, you name it. Everything's showing it's getting power, but the pump's not turning on. So that's where we are now. We'd like to get this running so I could use it, and also it's blocking up my garage. So a lot of talking there. Sorry. We'll get to it. So you got 2 bolts, you got the 2 straps, right? And then you got a bolt here and one over there. You undo them, the straps swing down, and then hopefully we get the tank out. I don't really remember if I have to take the front bolts out. I don't think so, but we'll see. I gotta get something under here to support this. It's got like a quarter of a tank of gas, I think. So hopefully it shouldn't be too bad as far as the weight. But it's just not easy. I mean, getting it down is not too bad, I don't think, but getting it back up with a jack, it's just not easy. It's good if you have help, which I don't. All right, got it down, although very awkwardly. It is pretty heavy. So then you can see the connections, and we're gonna have to undo the 3 different rubber hoses to get this thing free and out of here. This is that adapter I was saying. That's the braided return. And then it transitions to a rubber hose, which is what was, originally on here. In fact, those 2 others, I think, are the original hoses, rubber hoses to the car. So these little tabs, this lock ring, you just counterclockwise, you tap them until you get this loose. And then the sending unit should come out. You have to twist it around a little bit. A little float. It's kind of pointing up in that direction. And the pickup sock to the left. I need 2 hands for this. Just a little word on E85. E85 gets a bad rap. It's known to be corrosive. It gums things up. You just hear all kinds of bad things, how ethanol is just the worst thing ever. And I'm not denying any of that, but just from my own experience, I've been running E85 in this car for 10 years. There is some sediment. Definitely some weird sediment down here, but that might have always just been there. I mean, this is a 35-year-old car, and this is the original fuel tank. I'll try to dip the camera in here. I don't know if you can see. I went around with the flashlight. I'm not saying it's perfect in there, but I don't see any kind of major evidence of corrosion. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing that you wouldn't see with a tank that's been running on regular pump gas for all these years. So that's kind of a relief. Even though it's such a pain that this pump stopped working and I'm having to do this. Like I said, this has been in here for 6 years. The original fuel lines are still on the car. They seem fine. The only evidence of any kind of problem I see is I really should have taken off this barcode sticker from this clamp, because that is loose. So I'm going to remove that. But this is the Deutschwerks pump clamped into the factory original sending unit, and this is a new wiring harness from Reinstalling. You replace the factory bulkhead connector. The wires are a little bit thicker, I think. Even if they're not, they're newer and they're rated for E85. But even when I took the original wires out, it had been running E85 for about 4 years, and the original wires were totally fine. Really no evidence of any kind of weird corrosion or damage on the original sending unit. Still don't know why the pump failed, but you know, things happen. Anyway, I am going to get this on the workbench, start taking this all apart, and get the new pump in here, and hopefully get this back together today. The sock had some a bit of sediment on it too. Nothing too crazy. So this is the replacement. I bought the exact same one that I had in there because when it was working great. And I don't know if they've come out with something better since then. I'm kind of out of the scene with the turbo Buicks. Haven't really been paying attention for a long time. So this is the DW300, and they make different variations. This is the 1000, which is a pretty much a universal kit, and it comes with these pieces: a little short fuel hose, clamps, the power connector, a new sock. So, yep, so pretty much to get some clamps off and it should be out. Before I took the pump out, I just wanted to check the internal wiring, which obviously I couldn't do until it was all out. And I did find a little bit of this weird white residue on the bulkhead connector. And I'm wondering, I mean, the terminals don't look too bad. Like I said, I replaced this when I put this in 6 years ago. Just wondering, you know, if that had something to do with like a bad connection to the pump. So I'm just gonna check this out a little bit further before I tear this all apart. So I took this little insulator off, and you know, this is like whitish residue. I see it on the inside of here too. That might have something to do with the ethanol. Not really sure. One thing you got to do with these to fit into the factory sending unit properly, it comes with these little kind of tabs. I don't know what they're exactly for. The original pump kind of fit into this triangular space. These replacement pumps are just flat on the bottom, so you do have to trim off. I did it on this one. I'm going to have to do it on this one. You just cut off, this is plastic, you just trim off these little tabs so it can fit nice and flush inside of here. Use these wire cutters to cut off the little tabs and then file down the rest. Just takes like a couple minutes, get it all smooth. Okay, everything back together. I changed the little short rubber fuel hose, put the new one that came in the kit. Connected the wires, tightened up the clamps. Yep, we're ready to put the new sock on. I had a problem getting this out of the tank, so I took the clip off and removed the sock, the pickup little sock filter, while it was still in the tank. So I guess I'll try to put the new one on, see if we can fish it in, but it might have to, it's like partially in. You get this part, this float in first, and then clip on that pickup sock. I also ohmed out all the wiring to the harness, make sure everything is connected and it's good and solid. Went back in much easier than it came out. I was able to do it with the sock attached. Fished it right in there. Now we're ready to roll it back in and try to prop it up, which is tough. It's pretty heavy. There's more gas in here than I thought. More ethanol than I thought, I should say. I got it teetering. It's a good word. It keeps wanting to fall off one side or the other on the jack. Hopefully I can get this close enough to get these connections made. We'll see. This is another look at what I was saying with the this is the original return line. The feed line is here, 3/8. The original return line was pretty small. I think it's like about 1/4 of an inch, 5/6. Nah, I think it's 1/4 of an inch. It's really small. I got everything connected again and balanced up here. Gonna try to raise it up, send it back in. Okay, it's back in. Used the blocks of wood to try to help stabilize each side. Got the jack up as far as I could, and there is some leeway with these straps. The bolts are kind of long, so once you get it kind of close, you can get those threaded, and then you can just pull it back up. Battery ran out. Yep, so everything's back in, plugged in, ready to go. Gonna turn the key. You know, this is where things usually go wrong, but hopefully we have some better luck today. Okay, fuel pressure. That's excellent. We should be good to go here. Pressure's looking right on the money. A little less than 40 for idle is good. So yeah, I guess it was the pump. Kind of surprising. Probably only had a couple of thousand miles, but maybe sitting around, I don't know. It really didn't look like anything bad was going on in there, so. I did get that, the original DW pump I got off eBay. And I always wonder, you know, when you're buying stuff on eBay, is it real, is it bootleg? Who knows? The one I got, the most recent one I got through Amazon, looks slightly different, but you know, they might change things after 6 years. Manufacturing process changes, whatever. So I think we're good to go with the GN here. Get this cleaned up, and I'd like to get a, you know, like a walk around video, or just get it out, some miles on it. So if I do that, I'll feature it here. Anyway, today was a success. It was hot. Took a few hours. I had to take some AC breaks, but looks like this was not anything terrible, which is nice for a change. Anyway, thanks for watching My Fast Garage, and see you next time.